make sure
Kingpin's reputation precedes itself. Even God-fearing non-gamers have an opinion on it. It's set to do to the PC gaming market exactly what Faces of Death did to the video retail industry. It doesn't feature Woody Harrelson and has nothing to do with bowling or puerile humor. No, it populates its world with gutter-mouthed gangsters and, to quote the game, bitches.
All right, AJ, what the fuck is going on? Fucking Scorp swiped the battery out of the garage. That bike ain't going nowhere now. Shit! And what? Some asshole capped a bunch of our guys in Skid Row in the sewer. Who the fuck is the guy? I don't know. You fucking find him, you hear me? We'll get him. And get the boys together. We're gonna pay them fucking Scorps a little visit.
Xantix has never been known to toe the line. The controversial games developer was responsible for the tongue-in-cheek, arse-exploding antics of Elvis Presley in Redneck Rampage and has done some amazing things with the yet-to-be-topped Quake 2 engine. This time, they've watched too many Abel Ferrara flicks and have sunk into the middle of inner-city Chicago, and it looks like there's no way to go but a gun blazing up. You're a no-good thug who's just been crapped by a couple of hoods working for a guy named Nicky. Vowing to do your damage to these two punks and anyone else in the way, you head off into the maze of non-linear and believable streets, subways and freight trains, hiring and firing, smacking and stealing, and oh my goodness, profaning to the sounds of the bad boys of rap, Cypress Hill. Yo, a match made in heaven. But blowing people away isn't the only thing you have to do in this game. No, Half-Life changed the first-person shoot-a-thon from a murderous frenzy into a thinking person sport. Nowadays, people want to become involved, engaged, taunted, and challenged by the people that they want to destroy. Kingpin does all that.
So what's going on?
Just hanging, man.
Turn the fuck around.
In order to rise up the bloody ladder, you've got to schmooze with the locals to find out what the heck is going on, and this is where the real meat comes into play. All characters are independent and intelligent. You have the groundbreaking choice to interact with them in one of three ways: positive, neutral, and negative. They react depending on which style you use, whether your piece is drawn, and what your reputation is. As an outcast, they'll have emotional memories, and they'll remember if you blew their mate away. Your rep is absolutely imperative. It'll determine if someone will chat first, shoot later, or the other way around.
Yo, kill that mother...
Instead of just gathering ammo, weaponry, and power-ups by vicariously picking up floating objects obviously left by a lazy developer, you scavenge the corpses that moments earlier you sent to their maker. The more money you get, the bigger the piece you can buy at the local Pawnomatic. They stock everything from body armor to flamethrowers, even health itself.
Hey, come back anytime, huh? Thanks for shopping, Pawnomatic.
Increasing the disgusting psychopath factor, each to-be-dead dude has 15 independent body parts, so they snake around with some serious attitude and can be blown into separate chunks. Dismemberment is an option, you sick freaks. The graphics are excellent, the features are precise, and listen also for the surface sound effects. You're more easily detected walking on corrugated iron than stone. Metal sounds different from wood when it's shot at. People sound different when they're beaten than when they're on fire.
Kill that mother...
It's bad news for those of you in the gaming dark ages. Kingpin requires a 3DFX card of some type. In Kingpin, you'll find a smacked-up inner-city underbelly filled with the most disgusting realism, blood, violence, and the worst conflict resolution ever found in a computer game. And it's coming to your weapons cabinet at the end of the month.
Anyone who dreams of the best a car can be dreams of Silverstone, Monza, Nürburgring. But we're not talking escorts or Novas here. We're talking Formula One. Formula One World Grand Prix 2 for Nintendo is a sequel to the original Formula One World Grand Prix. This game should be taken seriously by anyone who's into hardcore Sims racing. Expect no easy drive-abouts. You won't find any arcade option in this game. Instead, it takes you right into the Formula One world, where air smells of burned rubber and male testosterone, and cars twitch and drift. Formula One World Grand Prix 2 convinces through brilliant graphics and sound effects that suck you right into the action. But beware, like the previous version, the cars aren't easy to handle. The minutest mistake will have you slide right off the track. This game requires practice, practice, and practice. Don't skip it, cause there's tons of driving ahead. In fact, gamers can compete in an entire Formula One season featuring 16 of the world's toughest tracks, 11 racing teams and 21 authentic race car drivers. And since it's an update, it also features original moments of the 1998 championships. The game engine is the same as in the original game, but the frame rate is far superior. You get full track visibility, so it's nothing like the rather disappointing F1 98, and you get all the stats of the 98 races. Interlagos, Hockenheim, Monte Carlo, and all the other tracks look super real, and thanks to the tutorial mode, you fast become an expert on the hotspots of each course. The challenge option allows you to change history and become one of your idols. And if you've ever wondered what it would feel like to complete a whole race, now's your chance. This F1 sim has you strapped down for hours at a time, completing just one race. It's a huge task, but you will be able to brag that you relived some of the finest moments in racing history. Just make sure you really want to before you start. Naturally, because of the greater processing power of the Nintendo console, the detailing is much better than in PlayStation games such as Formula One 98. But there's some strong competition from PC games such as the official Formula One racing game. Here you've also got the helicopter view and track view, which lend the game a TV feel. But the sound in official Formula One racing is totally fake compared to the Nintendo sim. This is a little bit surprising given the game's powerful look. All in all, Nintendo's F1 World Grand Prix 2 is a brilliant Formula One console sim. In fact, it's probably the Gran Turismo of Formula One racing. And it's out to buy now.
In times of legends, we dream of magic, the power of which is to be used for the greater good of man. In the game you're about to see, the magic becomes evil, and the tribes all set about destroying each other. The name of the game is Destrager. Essentially a beat-em-up, Destrager also boasts a story mode to build up some character background. The story mode is set around 30 one-on-one matches with cutscenes to keep the narrative moving along. Personally, I thought that the story mode was one of the most laughable attempts at tale-telling. Now that I've got that off my chest, I'd like to say that the game is not all bad. It's a noble attempt at trying to liven up the beaten-up genre. One of the great things about this game is the freedom of movement. You can run anywhere on your screen, not simply towards and away from your opponent. The attacks are fast and can be extremely powerful as you combine up to 3 buttons in one almighty blaster. The magic looks pretty impressive, particularly if you're starting your attack from the air. Another bonus from the game are the defensive moves. You can parry pretty much everything once you know what you're doing, but it will take you time to get that good. Initially, the game plays really well. It's a new way of beating the crap out of people, but as you play more, the game loses its luster. There's little to discover once you've worked out blocks and the magic. Well, it's another bloody beat-em-up and not a very good one at that. Destrager had some good elements in it, but frankly it didn't really do it for this reviewer. Destrager will be out in October for your PlayStation.
I hope your VCRs are rolling because now it's cheats time here on Bits. Where better to start than with Need for Speed 3. Now all your cops have southern accents.
And I've got Deer Hunter 2. You know the game where you're shooting deer? Well, this time you can see the whole thing through the deer's eyes. And it's no Bambi, that's for sure.
And I've got Brian Lara Cricket. If you want helmet view, simply enter this cheat. Chris Rea, although I'm not quite sure why Chris Rea equals helmet.
And after the break, join us for Dreamcast, Black and White, and this lady.
You're in a...
That was a...
IDOS have teamed up with BAFTA to produce a short film inspired by the words urban chaos. This is a competition and the best efforts are to be premiered at the IMAX Cinema in London on July 13th. Sadly, this is a press-only event, but I have been reliably informed that Urban Chaos Club Nights will be touring around the country come the late summer. As well as big-name DJs, you can expect some visual mixing involving some clips from the film and stills from the game, mixed by those trippy hipsters Icon. Watch out for a club night near you.
If you've ever fancied giving internet gaming a whirl, well, now you have full access to a European-supported version of the #1 PC game in Japan and the #1 online game in the US, called Ultima Online: The Second Age. Your goal is, basically, to live a good life and to kill the evil dudes who've caused bad things to happen in the world. You hunt, you make a living, you sleep, and all the while the world is going on around you, populated by lots of non-playing characters and flesh-and-blood players. The release of Ultima Online: The Second Age opens up British doors to the largest gaming community in the world and finally lets those phone bills relax for seasoned European players who've had to make phone calls to the US in order to access the game for the last 3 years. It's out now.
Oh no, it's another Zelda. Yes, Nintendo are bringing out a follow-up to the smash hit Zelda Ocarina of Time. And parents, prepare to be appalled because it will be out just in time for Christmas. I think it sounds great, but will they be able to match their last epic installment, especially as it's coming out so soon?
Last week I tempted you back to the program by titillating you with this fair machine. Half the size of Nintendo, half the size of PlayStation, but twice as heavy. This is the Sega Dreamcast, for those of you not in the know, and with its release on the 23rd of September, it will revolutionize the games industry, whether you believe the hype or not. It's twice as fast as the N64, which was heralded for its high frame rate and loading times. It also meets head-to-head with top-end PCs, and it's faster than a Pentium 2. And it's just for games, which practically means that the visuals are out of this world. On all of the arcade conversions, you feel like you are inside of a coin-op, and I'm talking about Virtua Fighter 3 TB, House of the Dead 2, and Sega Rally 2. And I have to admit, I did stick in Sonic Adventure for just about the whole weekend and thought, oh my god, is this playable FMV? Now the other technical side is this baby going to have a modem? Well, we know for sure that it has one in Japan, and we also know that it's going to have one free with the Dreamcast in the US. However, we still don't know about the UK. Modems aside, this is the most powerful machine on the console market. The only thing standing in the way of the caster's success is, of course, the quality of the games. And for more on that, here's Claudia.
Every console needs a great driving game, a great action game, and a great adventure game. And it also needs a great beat-em-up. Well, Sega have opened round 1 and launched Dreamcast with Virtua Fighter 3 TB in Japan. But over here, we're not quite sure which game is going to come with the console in September. But here is a sneaky peek at this full-on fighter game. In this case, Virtua Fighter on arcade is arguably the king of all fighting games. So it only made sense to repeat the success on Dreamcast. But did they achieve this overall aim? It's breathtaking to watch and magnificent to play, but some areas are actually superior to the arcade version, but others left me cold. The gameplay is completely intact. There's a combat normal 1-to-1 mode and a 3-against-3 tournament mode. All fine. But hardcore Virtua Fighter arcade gamers will find it most annoying to deal with the combination of the buttons. It's impossible to get some decent planned attacks organized without doing just random button pushing. So a Dreamcast arcade stick is a must for this game, and very appropriate since they're almost identical to the coin-op original. Unlike Tekken 3, there are no options in the versus mode, so you can't choose against who you will be playing. There's also no online gaming options, and call me greedy, but I would have liked to see some original Virtua Fighter 3 thrown in as a bonus. Nevertheless, Virtua Fighter 3 TB has a much deeper and more complex structure than the mighty Tekken 3, because the characters have nearly double the amount of attacks available to them.
Fight 3! Ready, go!
So why the drawbacks? With all this fantastic hardware, the game should have been perfect. Well, I can't help thinking that given the pressure to release the game with the original Japanese launch date, the developers simply ran out of time and pushed this baby under all circumstances into the shops before they had maxed their ideas. Perhaps the UK version will have some changes in it. Nevertheless, Virtua Fighter 3 TB is graphically the best fighting game around. And it should be. It also got a complex gaming structure and it comes very close to its arcade brother. But all of this does not mean that this game is perfect. At times, the limited options the gamer has makes it very difficult and frustrating to maintain ultimate control. But if you can live with that, it's a brilliant game for your brand new Dreamcast console.
The coming of the millennium does funny things to people. Some actually believe that the world is going to end. Nostradamus predicted that this would happen last week. Fortunately, it didn't, because I got the chance to play Urban Chaos, a fantastic new game involving a millennium conspiracy theory. You play Darcy Stern, a seriously funky and well-hard female cop who polices a normal kind of city. She's an acquaintance that develops into a firm friendship. He's 50 years old and an ex-cop himself. His name is Roper and he's a bit of a mystery man. The first few levels have you running around as Darcy, trying to keep the crime rate down and learning how to use this extremely versatile and mobile babe. You'll come up against some seriously tooled up gangsters committing crimes as diverse as a minor mugging to a full-blown massacre, which looks extremely gory in the game. You'll even have to save the odd suicide attempt. Needless to say, this game looks fantastic. Overall, the water effects are amazing, but it doesn't stop there. She also has a proper wall-hugging shadow. Nice. When you begin the game, Darcy doesn't have any weapons, which is a bit weird for a cop. Instead, you'll pick them up as you search the streets and scavenge the bodies of your hapless victims. And there'll be plenty of victims, because this is a fully operational city you're working here. There are lots of people on the streets, not just the odd passerby, and you're able to go up to each and every one of them and question them. They may not be particularly interesting, but they will all respond. And the AI is so good in this game that should one of these random street characters see you mowing down an innocent person, they may not speak to you again. Now, if they're holding vital information, that will mean you won't be able to progress to the next level. There's more than a hint of RPG about this game, but you'll get to do lots of hand-to-hand combat, and Darcy Stern is fantastic at it. You want to watch getting hit though, because you'll leave trails of blood behind for the baddies to follow you, and the same goes for wet footprints from puddles. In later levels you'll get to play Roper, Mr. Mystery himself, and he's got a huge arsenal of weapons and he certainly knows how to use them. In bonus levels you actually get to play the baddies, which certainly keeps the story moving along swiftly. Also pretty unheard of is the complete freedom of the city that you have. You can go into any building if it's unlocked, climb any roof. I'd say there's a definite hint of Grand Theft Auto influences here too. The early code I played looks fantastic and I can't wait to get my hands on the finished version to uncover the full storyline. IDOS were particularly shady when I pressed them for more information. However, all will be revealed when Urban Chaos is out for your PC and PlayStation in September.
A couple of weeks ago, I brought you information on Dungeon Keeper 2 created by a company named Bullfrog. Well, the original director and founder, Peter Molyneux, is here with me today. In his latest incarnation, he is director and founder of Lionhead Studios. They've just come back from E3 with a huge success surrounding Black and White, which has won 4 amazing awards: Best of Show, Best PC Game, Best Original Game, and Best Strategy Game. But, I mean, let's fill the folks in home. What is Black and White all about?
Essentially, what I wanted to do is create this world that you could do anything you wanted to in this world. In all my previous games, I said you played the bad guy, or I said you played the good guy, but wouldn't it be cool to have a world that allows you to do anything you like in it? To be unspeakably cruel and mean and just really downright awful to all these little people, or to be wonderfully kind and benevolent and caring. And within that world, what you can also do is nurture and bring up this incredible creature. And you can give it any personality you like. You can teach it what's right and wrong. It can become the ultimate fighting machine, or it can become this Mother Teresa-like figure that can go and care for everything. It is an absolute Eden. And then you come along and throw this Garden of Eden out of balance. In the end, black and white ends up what you make it.
I'm wondering if you can sort of have a Clockwork Orange moment in that you play a CD, you beat your creature up, and he turns into a psychopath. Is this possible?
Well, you can play any music CD you like when you're playing black and white. And every music CD you play, the creature remembers the little CD ident key. And he remembers what you've done to him when you've been playing that music. So if you've been really cruel to him, if you slapped him around and you told him off a lot, next time you put that music on, he'll just cover his ears, he won't like it at all. But if you've been nice to him, then he'll actually slowly learn to dance to that music.
What I want to know is where the interface has gone. For every other simulation game, real-time strategy game, you have to interact with the computer in usually a pop-up menu. But in this one, there's nothing like that. What have you done?
The trouble with Dungeon Keeper, it had more icons in it than all the other games I'd done put together. And did you click on this icon? Do you right-hand click on it? What do you do? And whenever I was explaining the game to anybody, you'd have to explain what the icons did. So I thought, damn it, let's just get rid of all the icons. Let's just give you one interface method, this hand. And with this hand, you can interact with the world. You can pick things up, you can throw things around, you can cast spells with the hand. You can even scroll around the world with the hand. All you do is you just click on the landscape and pull it towards you, as if you're pulling yourself towards you. And so it works just so amazingly well. I mean, the best place, I suppose, it works is with the creature. Because when you've got this creature and you see him doing something bad, you just hit him with the hand. You just move the mouse and you just slap him with the hand. And if you want to say you've done something good, you stroke him. It's the first game I've ever done where I didn't feel hugely nervous giving the mouse to somebody and saying, right, you have a go.
Can you take them online, have them interact with other creatures? Will they change in any way?
You can make friends with other creatures. Your creatures can even fall in love with other creatures. They can hate other creatures. They can learn things from other creatures. You can learn spells. They can learn fighting moves from other creatures. Then you can take your creature back into the single-player game and continue playing it. So sure enough, you can take your creature online, and there is something called Black and White Gathering. You can meet other creatures. You can use it as like an amazing chat program. And then there's a Black and White Worlds where there are literally 8 of you as these 8 hugely powerful figures, all with their own creatures, all competing over the control of this one world. But the most interesting one will be Black and White Universe, and that's being able to take your landscape and plug it into a much, much, much bigger landscape. And the incredible thing for me is seeing what that world will turn out like. Will it really turn out a place of absolute evil?
Okay, Peter, the big question then is, when is it going to ship?
I think next March will be a good time.
I really look forward to that. I can't wait to see Black and White. Thank you very much, Peter, for coming along.
It's been great. Thank you very much.
And Black and White? Competition time. And this week we've got a bumper prize.
Yeah, the lucky grand prize winner gets to take home all of Eidos's forthcoming releases for the next year.
Titles include Tomb Raider 4, The Nomad Soul, Championship Manager 99, Fighting Force 2, Resident Evil 3, Daikatana, and Anachronox.
That lot's worth 1,300 quid, which ain't half bad. But on top of that, you're also going to go home with all of these. Their latest releases and a whole heck of a lot of Laura merchandise.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Just answer this question and you're sorted for 365 days.
Which controversial game series is based on the David Carradine Sly Stallone flick Death Race 2000?
Simply email us your answers to bitsforlater@aol.com.
Bye.
See ya.
Beware, coward.